Well, we should have a look at the second of these drafting aids. The second tab here is called Polar Tracking, and you turn Polar Tracking on by clicking this little checkbox here, or the F8 function key. So already you can see that writing out a little strip telling yourself what each particular function key does is rather useful. There are a couple of polar angle measurements, absolute or relative to the last segment, and we'll look at that. We'll leave it on absolute for the moment, and I've set the incremental angle to 45, and you can even have additional angles within that. You might want to go to 22.5, and there's an enable distance step option here as well, and so let's OK that. So we've now turned on polar tracking. Snap is still on too, by the way. Let's turn snap and even our grid off, because that tends to confuse the issue. So if we were, say, to draw a line, now when I draw a line I'll just take any random point. As I move my cursor around, you can see here that I'm tracking 4.055 meters out in the zero angle direction. So I can simply go click. If I now want to go at 45 degrees, I just swing and wait for my cursor to catch up with me, or my tracking to catch up with me, and I can go 26 meters off, or 27 not meters, 2.72 meters off in that direction. Now I can go back to 90 degrees up, come back here if I want to 180, go back down there to 225, like so, line that up, and then come down through here at 270. Can you see I've drawn that shape there very, very easily using the tracking. Now, in fact, things didn't match precisely here, but because we use tracking, everything is squared off, so it's quite easy to go modify and extend, pick that as the boundary edge and that one there, and they just automatically extend. So tracking is a very useful tool. If we right click and go here, then we can next experiment with tracking absolute. Sorry, we've just done absolute. We'll do it now relative to the last segment drawn. So if we, maybe to illustrate, if we draw a line at 45 degrees, so we'll go out there, wait for our tracking to catch up with us, there we are, and we hit the enter key. The last segment drawn was at 45 degrees. We right click, drafting age, we say now we're going to track relative to the last segment, so it's going to be 45 degrees to that in steps, increments, in 45 degree steps relative to the last segment. So we go OK. Now let's choose the draw the line command, and if we just come out here so that we can see that segment, if I draw there, can you see we're tracking relative to the last segment. There was the last segment there. Come out here, we're 45 degrees to it, 90 degrees to it, we're tracking back in this direction, and so on. So you can track in a number of ways. If we go here, we can set additional angles as we mentioned, and a polar distance step here. At the moment it's jumping at 1 degree. So let's make it jump, or polar distance step. Oh, that's 1 unit. Let's say we want to draw some lines 5 meters long. We'll see what happens now. We've said enable distance step. We'll go draw line, go click, and click, see what happens. I'm not too sure. We said it was going to, let's go out here and we track. Not sure what that option is doing for us. We're saying the polar distance step is 5 meters. Does that mean that we have to move out 5 meters before the tool comes into use or not? Not sure about that one, and so we need to play. Better, I think, to go back to absolute, leave your increment angle to 45 degrees. That's the default. So that's the polar tracking. Not terribly well explained, but I'm sure you will work out the enable distance step option. We'd better set that back to 1. When we don't get something to work, we set it back to 1. I would just like to clarify that little bit. We were in fact on the right track. If I right click here and go to drafting aids, I've left it at absolute and I've got a distance step of 5 meters. We were too far in before. Let's OK that, and let's now draw a line, and we'll start over here somewhere, and as I move away and get near, can you see we now click onto the 5 meter step? Between 5 meters and 10 meters, we've got all the little odd numbers. Now it clicks on 10 meters again, 15 meters. I'll just roll in a little so that you can perhaps see that a little easier. We can come back here to 10 meters, hopefully, 9, and come up here. There's 10 meters. We can come across here to 15, and it will jump at 15. So we can quite easily do that. That line is precisely 15 meters in length. So previously we were zoomed, I'll zoom a window, we were zoomed in an area such as that, and clearly we never reached the 10 meter snap. So you do have to be aware of your tracking and step distances, but it provides a very easy way to work. And of course you can change your settings very easily. You get polar tracking. It's a simple matter to change that from 5 meters to maybe 250 meters if you're working in a small area. Now it will track 250 millimeter jumps.